Hey everybody, apologies first and foremost for not having made a video for quite a while. As those of you who have been paying attention to the news in Japan and the news about Japan will realize not much has changed with the Japanese immigration situation since early October, which was the last time that I made a video. For better or for worse, I think in some cases it's better, and I'll get into those in a second. In some cases it's worse because tourists and most importantly binational couples are no closer to being admitted entry into Japan than they were 6 weeks ago. On a personal note, you'll probably notice that my scenery has changed a little bit. I am not in Turkey anymore, and I have not gone back to Taiwan. And the reason for this is that in the next couple of weeks, I actually have to apply for my student visa to Japan. And so I had to come home to the United States to do that. My family lives outside of St. Louis, Missouri, if any of you know that or have ever been here. And I'm going to have to go up to Chicago, which is currently under a full lockdown, and get the visa. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I might make a video about that process, might not. I'll certainly write about it, and I'll of course let you know once I have my visa and once I'm ready to depart. And if everything goes according to plan, and I think it will, I will be departing the United States on the 5th of January, 2021. So that's very exciting. But at any rate, I did want to provide a brief update, you know, as much as an update can be possible, given, once again, that very little has changed. And I'd start first by saying that I guess the most important thing that happened recently was Thomas Bach, the head of the IOC, visited Japan. And the good news is that both he and Prime Minister Suga remain really committed to the Olympics taking place in person and as full as possible in July of next year. The bad news is that both of them once again floated not only the possibility of a Japanese-only Olympics, but also the idea that there might not be spectators at all. Now, I don't think either of these things are going to come to pass, first and foremost, because now 3 vaccines, all of which Japan has pre-purchased, have proven effective against COVID-19. Those of you who follow the news on this will realize the Moderna vaccine is about 95% effective. The Pfizer vaccine is between 90 and 90% effective. And then the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is between 70 and 92% effective. And that's a little bit more complicated than the other two to explain why that happens and why it's effective sometimes and not effective other times. But the good news is it does look like we're going to have several vaccines available within the first or second quarter of 2021. And depending on how the Japanese government determines to use that to relax the Japan travel ban, that could be very good for those of you who are not going to be able to get into Japan under one of the existing arrangements. Now, my personal feeling is that once Japan has immunized the vulnerable people within its population, so old and sick people plus hospital workers, and once vaccination has begun rolling out around the world in large enough numbers so that would-be travelers can just go to a drugstore or a travel health clinic and get immunized, my feeling is that Japan's border will basically be open again. You'll have to provide proof that you've been vaccinated, and depending on which vaccination you get, this could be a 1 or 2 month process, being that most of the vaccines that will initially be available require 2 doses. But my feeling is that once Japan's most vulnerable have been immunized, and once you can provide proof that you were immunized, you should be allowed to enter. Now, the reason I mentioned the Olympics earlier is not because I especially care about the Olympics. I wasn't planning to go even in 2020, and now I'm agnostic as to whether they take place. But I would say that the Olympics, although initially they were an impediment to people being able to enter and re-enter Japan, I would say that now they're almost insurance. You know, I think a lot of people have written me and said, oh my God, like, is Japan going to fully close its border again? So are students and workers and other people who are now able to enter Japan, are we going to suddenly be locked out again? And I've said no. I said that emphatically because I think that if Japan tightens its border restrictions at all again, it's going to eliminate any confidence the world has in Japan's ability to host the Olympics in 2021. And I think that as a result of that, if that happens, the Olympics are going to have to be canceled, simply from a political standpoint. So no, I think that Japan might slow its plans to reopen its border a little bit. For example, I don't think the business track is going to be expanded to a lot of other countries anytime soon. But I think that if you currently qualify under a residence track arrangement, you're going to be able to enter. And moreover, I think that in March, April, May, when citizens certainly of developed countries are getting vaccinated in large numbers, I think Japan and any other holdout countries are going to have a hard time justifying continued border closures. So that's the good news. And other than that, I mean, I have to say, I don't really have a lot of other updates right now. Very little has changed since the last time I made a video. I am still going to continue making videos at least every month. I have one scheduled for the end of December, which will be, I doubt much will have changed from what I'm talking about now, but on a personal note, and I guess kind of a self-indulgent one, since most of you probably don't care about this, I will most likely have my visa at that point, and I'll be making the final preparations to travel to Japan. But for those of you who are American, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving this week. I hope you are staying safe and sane amid the COVID surge. And I would just encourage everyone to keep on keeping the faith, because as much as political leaders around the world, in Japan and the West and otherwise, have failed us during this time, science is on the way to solve this problem. And I do have confidence that a year from now, things will more or less be back to normal in terms of travel. I think in 6 months from now, it'll be more than on its way. And I think more or less the world of 2022, for travelers anyway, will look as close to the world of 2019 as is possible. So happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope to see all of you in Japan as soon as possible. Speak in December. Okay, bye.